If this don't fix me, I don't know what will. Festive. I have festive decor. I have festive decorations. It's festive. We're doing festive. But also extremely half-hearted because I live in a shit uni flat. I am buying a Christmas tree. Best you're gonna get is a Poundland novelty Christmas duck, shaped like a Christmas tree. I don't know if it actually floats. I don't own a bath to test because once again, shitty student flat. Here's my Christmas tree. Look, I got presents. I've got props. I'm doing a professional thing. I've got props. This is gonna get so fucking annoying so quickly. But we're running with it, okay? I pulled all-nighter. We're up at 8 in the morning. I'm fucking doing this. I'm filming this. I've tried like 3 times already. I've discovered I'm not a camera person, but we are doing this. I'm getting this done. I'm a depressed fuck, okay? Right. I am miserable. It is Christmas. I should not be miserable. Let's try and rekindle some kind of festive joy in my life through the magical power that is Jackie Tyler getting attacked by a Christmas tree. Even that now we've got a return to Doctor Who Christmas specials and also a return to Christmas specials done by Russell T Davies, I figured why not, in a desperate attempt to rekindle some kind of tinselly festive joy in my life, why don't I go back to his original run of Christmas specials and revisit them and see if it makes me feel some kind of joy in life. I'm going to be ranking them because why the fuck not? You know, got to have a point to this video in some way. Fuck it, I don't know, man. We're doing this. I'm getting this done. Making a thing of it. I'm going to rank them in terms of both how good they are just as Doctor Who episodes. Like, if you weren't watching them at Christmas, how good would it be just as an episode on its own? How watchable is it? How, like, important is it to, like, the canon as a whole? And then I'm going to be doing it, ranking them as Christmas specials, how festive they are. Do they have the right vibes, right? Because not necessarily when you're sitting down at Christmas, you stuff your face full of food, you just sat on the sofa, fucking comatose. You don't really want, like, intense plot, do you? You just want fluffy, festive nonsense that you can just sit there and zone out to. Does it fulfill that? It's the first kind of true Christmas special. If you want to discount the one where Hartnell, you know, looks to camera, says Merry Christmas to all of you, because I'm going to be honest, that's not a Christmas special, is it? Like, I know purists who, like, count that as first Christmas special. It ain't though, is it? Like, it's a normal episode and then you get the random little 4-4 break at the end. That's not a Christmas special. I'm sorry, Brendan. So aside from that, this is the first special. It has to set a precedent for the rest of them. It has to set this tone of, they still have a plot, but you know, it's light, it's festive, whatever. That has to start with this episode. It's got this struggle of needing to introduce a whole new Doctor. You have to establish this new actor in your lead role. You have to get the audience on board with this new iteration, this new actor. You've got to keep him around enough to see how he develops in the next series, so you can't have it fuck up this time, right? So you've got a lead role you need to replace, and also you need to explain this whole concept of regeneration to an entirely new audience, and mostly children who have had a very long day, I'm going to be honest. So how do you manage to do that in this, like, light-hearted, campy little Christmas special? I think the way they did it, I think it works quite well to have David kind of out of it. He's fucking unconscious for a massive chunk of the episode, because you experience this change, you experience the transformation with the humans around him who are just as clueless as, like, a chunk of the audience is going to be. So you experience this change through the perspective of it being completely new to the characters, which also has the benefit of being, like, not really fucking boring. If you're an old viewer who knows what regeneration is, you know the process, but you get to see it from a new angle of it takes ages and people around him ain't got a clue what's going on. Plus, I think this is kind of the first instance of seeing a Doctor immediately post-regeneration and he is, like, incoherent, he's off his face, he's gone loopy, which I think kind of needed to happen in a Christmas special, where you have already got this lighter tone, you've got, it's already campy, it's not that serious. I think it has to happen in this, because otherwise I don't know how else they would have transitioned from Eccleston's kind of darker tone, more mature series towards like, well, one, if you're doing Regeneration as this comedy process where they wake up and they ain't got a clue what's going on, and also like David's iteration in general, 10th Doctor is chaos, right? He's not as bad as Matt Smith, but he is chaotic, he is campy, he is jokey, and I feel like you could only really do that transition in a festive special. There's nothing really inherently Christmassy about the plot, unless you want to count the fact that like Guinevere 1 was meant to make contact on Christmas, that like it was a symbolic thing of New Horizons or whatever. But beyond that, like the Davies era consistently had the concept of a Christmas special be just, it's a Doctor Who plot, but it's set at Christmas, which kind of starts with this, because when you get into Moffat's run, his Christmas episodes are more in the vein of like, it's a Christmas story, but also the Doctor happens to be here. Like, you do like A Christmas Carol, but it's in space. You do The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but there's aliens. It's like, it's tonally distinct, whereas this run of episodes is it's grounded on Earth. So a lot of all the like festive vibes around it, they do actually just come from like witnessing this completely normal family Christmas. It's Jackie, Rose and Mickey trying to have just like a normal Christmas for once, and then the plot happens, right? You get a spaceship over London, as you do, as you used to do in the Davies era, because it used to be that like the whole thing was the turn of the 21st century. It was, you got aliens. They were appearing to humans, whereas like, I feel like we really forgot that when we got the transition to Matt Smith, that we just collectively forgot that aliens were among us. I feel like with the style of Christmas it was also significant. Like, it's not the kind of Christmas from the John Lewis ads, right? It's not this, picture book gingerbread Christmas, okay? It's a bang average council flat with the tinsel, with the tacky decorations, with the Christmas cracker hats, right? Christmas crackers, right? Bring back making the Doctor wear a Christmas cracker hat at the end of the episode. Right? There's something iconically British Christmas about a Christmas cracker hat. Okay? Bring them back. It'll fix everything. It will make me happy again. It will make me enjoy Doctor Who. Bring back the fucking hat. But genuinely, right? The thing that you kind of lose, I feel like, when you make the plot of the episode, it's Christmas, but the Doctor's involved, is you kind of lose this ordinary people at home celebrating Christmas as the audience would be. I feel like that's kind of part of the charm of these older specials, especially this one, that like, it was such an unremarkable, recognisable Christmas that people were celebrating. And then you get this extra plot, but it feels so much more real. They feel like real people, because you watch them just celebrate Christmas as you would. Like, you would all sit round, do the crackers, eat the food, fuck it up a bit. There would be tinsel. Tinsel. This is so fucking annoying. This is the sensory nightmare that is having tinsel around your neck. I'm doing this for the fucking vibes, okay? The fucking novelty duck and me, making this work, making this happen. In terms of the overall plot of the episode, I think having the robot Santas as like this introductory little low stakes villain is quite cool. And like, no notes, right? It's campy, it's stupid, no notes, no complaints. Like, they're saying so like, this is the bit for the kids about it that I just love. Like, it's kind of terrible, it's really campy, but it became iconic, right? Like, Jackie Tyler almost getting killed by a Christmas tree. That is iconic. That is part of my Christmas canon, is that. And like that is what made it festive, was the plot was like, it was separate, but also it was vaguely linked. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I just really like the robot Santas and the killer Christmas tree. It's so stupid, it's so campy. We need to bring stuff like that back. In terms of like the actual villain of the episode, right? So Cracks are like the generic space monsters. There's kind of just enough unique about them that you can call them their own recognisable species. But, there's nothing festive about them. Because once again, you have the plot, you have the trappings of Christmas, they aren't necessarily related. But having them as the main villains and their trick being the whole blood control thing, I think it works with the tone a bit. Because you initially get something quite serious, in what should be kind of a light, low stakes festive thing, you initially get, yeah, the population just going to bully the top themselves. Enjoy. But then once you get the reveal that actually no, it's all a trick, they're pulling your leg, it lowers the stakes immediately, so you don't actually get the threat of, watching billions of people jump to their deaths on Christmas morning. So tonally, you get that initial threat, and then as soon as the Doctor shows up, it's like, nah, he's actually chill. It isn't too bad. And I feel like that tone should have stayed, right? Like, if you want to make it festive, you need to have stakes, otherwise why are you bloody watching it? Then the stakes can't be too high that it ruins your, this is the light fluffy Christmas episode. And for like having that fake out kind of, you get that balance to an extent. Also, Harriet Jones is back. Fucking love Harriet Jones. Like, automatically, fucking top tier Harriet Jones. No complaints, this episode's perfect. But seriously, like, this just shows how the whole Davies era was so interconnected that like her getting deposed by the Doctor in this episode, then like without that you never get Howard Saxon coming to power. You'd never get him dying and needing to be resurrected for 10th Doctor's like final story ever. Like it's completely bookended by Harriet Jones, and like it's so weird to think about that the ending was set up this early on, like his final story, which weirdly is also a Christmas special. Also, yeah, on to that later. It will come. It's happening. Like, it's just very weird to think that like it's bookended by these two Christmas episodes. And they are linked in a way. It's very odd. And like you do get flashes of the Doctor's like darker character with him deposing Harriet Jones, with him like no mercy, just no, you fucked up, your career's over, I'm sorry, but you're done. Like, you get the flashes of the darker side of the 10th Doctor's personality already, so he's fully established. But then you dial that back because it's a festive episode, because it's a Christmas special, you get that little flash, and then immediately it's like, right, and now he's off to celebrate Christmas with Rose's family. Now we get the light, fluffy ending, and it really works. I think like having him sit down for dinner with Rose's family is a really nice ending to this. I am a sentimental git, and like it's such a cute ending. It's so nostalgic. It's so cute, so nostalgic. I'm sure I think it's the only time they actually like does sit down and have dinner with someone's family. Like I know he gets offered like repeatedly from this point on, but I think this is the only time where he actually like has a moment. And I think that's kind of significant, like how important Rose was to him as a companion. He really integrated into the family. Whereas beyond that, like he never really had that level of relationship with the family. Except for maybe Wilf, but Wilf's just Wilf. Man's a fucking legend. So this is kind of, it's Donna's episode really, right? It's establishing her as this one-off comedy character, but also already with the intent that she'll come back at some point. And I think that's really interesting to look back on, because like, right, when I was younger, I couldn't be arsed with Donna. My mum fucking hated her for some reason, but even I couldn't be arsed. I didn't really relate. But the older I get, the more I have time for her. Like, the feeling of aimlessly drifting, having no prospects. You're stuck at home, you're living with your mum who is sick of your shit, like, it's becoming real, man. Like, I get it. That's my future, innit? It's fucking depressing. But, getting away from my issues, it's the first time bringing in a new companion in the new series, right? So even if she's a one-off, and she wasn't, but as set up as a one-off as she was in this, you need to establish her quickly. You need to get to know what's up with her. And it does really well, she's loud, she's arsey, she's got no career, and like, you get those story beats straight away. It's really efficiently done. And I think having her be, the comic character in a Christmas special is a really solid way of like, you get the archetype immediately. You know what she's about. And I feel like that might be half the reason I never clicked with like some of the later companions is you immediately know what she's about. You know someone like her. She's immediately like relatable, down to earth. I think that's kind of the part of the reason I really hated Clara, to be honest, is like she don't feel like a real person. Like she's trying so hard to be this like distant, pretentious. The whole world revolves around me. Like I fucking hate it. Like you don't actually get to know her as a person before, but that's me whinging about issues that come down later. Currently, we're living in the early 2000s. We're living in, you know, a time when it were better, and I didn't have like a career to think about, and all I had to worry about was getting to school the next day, and if I could get rid of some of really shit Doctor Who trading cards. Because I remember when they did a trading card game. And my absolute favourite was I got like a shiny card of the girl in the fireplace the moment when the Doctor like breaks through the window. No, it's a mirror, isn't it? He breaks through the mirror on the horse from the spaceship. Like that was iconic. I loved that thing. And I swear, like they had a separate magazine for it. And one of the like free things you got with the magazine once was you got like a massive, like solid plastic TARDIS, like 3D and everything, to store your cards in. I swear that was a thing, and like it's completely vanished. No one seems to like know what I was on about. Let me know if I'm like completely macking up. In terms of the Christmasiness of it all, like the setting once again is grounded in reality. It's grounded in like real people. You know who they are. You know what this kind of Christmas is like. But it's kind of less overt because you spend more time on the plot. You spend more time on, you know, Donna's crisis. The whole she's been like used. She's been slowly poisoned for the sake of this alien spider. We spend more time with that than like her family being part of the plot as their own the Christmas invasion. So like it's less overt, but it is still there thematically. Plus she is kind of, you know, she herself got married on Christmas because she wants to avoid it. It's like you do have that tonal consistency from the first one of the characters around the plot celebrate Christmas. Also, the Robot Santa's come back, which I think should become just like a tradition from here on out. Like every Christmas special, they have to show up somehow. I don't care how implausible it makes it. I want them to come back. So you do get this kind of Christmassy set dressing with the one-off novelty villain, but like when the stakes do ramp up, the Christmas goes away. Which you know, it is a different direction, I think, which is kind of needed. Because otherwise it'd just be like a complete rehash of the previous episode, and Christmas specials would become really shit really quickly, as they have done. But with this, it's much more of a personal story. It's about Donna discovering the wider universe, you know, her character transformation, becoming more than just this temp. You know, she wants to see the universe, she wants to do more. And it is her, like, her character moment with the reveal that, you know, Lance is just leading her on for the sake of this fucking spider. That is the twist at the start of the third act. So it is all about her. It is all about her development rather than just like there's this big spaceship happening or whatever. Because tonally it is a lot darker from a character perspective, because like she decided not to travel with the Doctor, right? We get this moment of darkness where he's committing genocide, let's be honest, and she has to witness that. Because of that, she decides, no, I don't want nothing to do with this man. And that, I feel like, is significant. Like, for a Christmas episode to end with, you know, actually, I ain't going to travel with you because you fucking scare me. I think it is significant, it is a change. And it does make it quite a weighty episode, because it's kind of one of the first times you start to see the Doctor's darkness creep in. Which obviously is, like, a huge overarching thing. But crucially, like, it isn't too dark. It still maintains that kind of light, festive theme with, you know, you end on the family Christmas dinner and Donna's going, you know, I'm going to go off and travel, I'm going to lead this new life, I've changed, I'm optimistic. So like, you get the tone kick back up at the end. And for the most part, you know, accepting the giant spider bit, which is freaky as hell, like, something really disturbs me about the Ragnos costuming. Like, not the fact that it's a spider, that don't bother me. But something about, like, the costuming, the little arms, it really fucking freaks me out. Like, she's so disturbing. But, anyway, childhood nightmares aside, like, the threat is generally mild for most of it. It is mostly just, you know, faffing about. Like, you've got the party and there's threats, but also the threat is robot Santas with flaming trumpets and like floating baubles with the Christmassy soundtrack. Like, it's never that dark until the very end. So you do maintain this kind of light, mild, festive theme. Like, it's never too big of a threat for when you're sat on the sofa after the bottle of Bailey's has disappeared and you're just out of it. You just, which, to be honest, this is what Christmas should be. Is like, if, like, I know we're a nation of alcoholics, but if you're getting like a little bit pissed or enough food coming by the end, you're missing out to an extent, you know. Overall, it is a solid episode. Even if it doesn't always feel super Christmassy, it is still a solid festive episode. But we need to bring back the aggressively cheesy, upbeat tone. Please, Russell. Like, we're all miserable gits. I'm in desperate need of like tinsel vibes. Tinsel in my Doctor Who, please. I'm begging you. It's a weird episode concept in general, but like specifically, there's nothing super festive about it. I mean, you know, it is Doctor Who, so like, obviously it's gonna be a bit campy, it's gonna be ridiculous. So in that way, it completely fits. But there's nothing really that festive about the concept, which I feel like lets it down slightly. I mean, the running gag with, you know, no one on the ship really knowing what on earth Christmas is like, it goes so old so quickly. I don't know if that's just because I'm like not 5 years old anymore, but yeah, I hate it. I kind of hate it. It gets really old really quick. But in fairness, it is a way of incorporating the Christmas theme without just rehashing the same, you know. It's the backdrop, it's the set dressing. We're watching Christmas and then a thing happens. It's like, it pulls it back different. But I like watching the companion of Christmas on Earth. So I understand this is fully personal bias, but like, I'm not the biggest fan of how they incorporate the Christmas theme there. The fact that the Doctor has no companion, so you bring in this one-off, was like a pretty sound decision, especially considering this is like the first time for the revival when he doesn't have a companion with him. I think it's a sound decision to have like a one-off. How they got Kylie Minogue, I have no idea, but you know, give her credit, she has a proper good stab at it. Like, she's a solid actress. And the whole classic, like, you know, she's a sparky young waitress who wants to see the world. It's fully the sort of character you'd expect to end up as like a permanent companion. So you could honestly believe she'd end up staying on. It does come as a bit of a shock when she dies. If it weren't the fact that, you know, it's Kylie bloody Minogue, of course she's not going to become the Doctor Who companion. She's got like a life, she's got touring, she's got a schedule. You know, she ain't going to take time out of her life for months on end to sit in a quarry in Cardiff and film in the rain. The ending goodbye scene where she gets sent off to the stars, it's so saccharine, it's so sentimental. But, you know, it's a Christmas episode, it carries it. You carry the tone of it being ridiculously cheesy. And I do love that. I am a sentimental git, I hold my hands up. Having the perspective of seeing Earth as this like brand new, exciting alien planet through Astra's eyes is honestly like a really cool idea. And I think we are sorely lacking in the revival, it's made me realise. We're lacking in characters that like aren't from present day Earth. And like, I'm not counting Clara because, like, you know, that wasn't actually her in the end and it was a weird arc and I want to forget that. But we need more like alien companions, please. Like, bring that back from the original one, like, please. Wealth. Like, I love this man. It brings me so much joy. I'm forever glad that they made the decision to bring him back on permanently as Donna's granddad when, you know, the actor who played a father in The Runaway Bride, he unfortunately died after that episode. When they originally were going to bring him back. Obviously they couldn't, and I'm so forever glad that they brought back Wilf to be a granddad. Like, this man is a national treasure. This man's a womble. He's a womble. In terms of the plot, like, disaster movie and Christmas special, like, they kind of do and don't go together, is the weird thing. Like, I get why it really shouldn't match. It really shouldn't. There's something about the complete absurdity of the concept. Like, it's a perfect alien replica of the Titanic about to crash because a business mogul who's a head in a box on wheels wants to screw over the shareholders who kicked him out because he's now a robot. And it's going to crash into Buckingham Palace on Christmas Day. and the Queen gets told to do a runner in her slippers holding all her corgis. It's like, it's terrible. It's terrible in the best possible way. And if that's not festive, I don't know what is. There's something very like, this is ridiculous, but you know, we're going to play it straight. We're going to run with it. It's stupid and we're all going to make a thing of it. There's something very British Christmas about that. I don't know what it is. It might just be me. Like, I think we need to return to that in Doctor Who. The way of like, you know, this is kind of terrible. It's all very, you know, ropey, wobbly sets and all that. But you ran with it. You made it a thing, and you still loved it. And as much as I hope we get that back in the new special, I know we're not. Like, the trailer looks way too slick, and I feel like things need to be a bit crap to be genuinely good sometimes with Doctor Who. Like, half the appeal was it was on a shoestring budget. It was kind of terrible, but you loved it anyway. Like, we need to bring back things being terrible, like the Robot Sanders, like the winter cruises put in space, and on the Titanic. Like, we need to bring that back. We need to make a thing of that again. Muppets Christmas Carol vibes. That's all I can think. Possibly because I'm still fuming about not getting an Audi Christmas wrap that looks like Rizzo in the Muppets Christmas Carol. I had it in my hands. I held it when it first came out in Audi. I had it in my hands, and I chose to put it back. I went, you know what, I'll think about it, you know. I'm not going to make rash decisions, I'm going to think about it. Next day, gone. Gone, there's national scarcity. I'm still pissed off at myself. Like, if I had a time machine right now, I'll go back and slap myself and say, get the fucking right, get the fucking Christmas right. It looks so stupid, get the fucking right. Anyway, like, this episode feels so hard, like it's trying to do Dickens, and I feel like that was kind of the aim, was it went, you know, Christmas, a Christmas Carol, you think of Dickens, therefore generic Victorian London in the snow, it'll be good enough, it'll feel festive anyway. And I feel like that's where it fails, because like, when they did genuinely do a version of the Christmas Carol, which honestly is one of the best Matt Smith Christmas specials, when they did a Christmas Carol, it's like, it is like the plot's the same, it's the same plot, it's a straight parody pastiche of the Christmas Carol, but in space. Yeah, but you add the Doctor Who twist on it. Whereas this, I feel like they just took the set dressing, they took the. It's a word I'm thinking of. It's a word I'm thinking of, like the surface level trappings. Editing me will think of it, and if not, he will judge me for it. And if he does, he will still judge me for it. But regardless, that word of Dickensian is where this episode started and ended when it came to Christmas, and I feel like that's really lacking. Like, beyond the initial introduction to here's the Doctor in a new setting, and it's Victorian London and it's snowy and it's at Christmas, it kind of completely disappears the rest of the episode, except for like, you hear mentions of it as like a generic ticking clock, as you know, this is going to happen on Christmas. It's going to happen on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is like when it all kicks off, that's when the danger's house. But like, beyond that, it's just, I feel like in some way, it being a historical setting kind of detracts from it being Christmassy in a way. Like, it kind of just feels like thin ice, where that could be a Christmas episode. Like, it's got the same level of festive as it's Victorian in the snow. But that one Christmas special. I feel like you need, like, I don't know if this is my own personal soapbox, I feel like to make a festive Doctor Who Christmas special, you have to see like your average person celebrating it at the same time as the broadcast audience, like in the same time period. Like, you need to see people sitting around, pulling Christmas crackers, eating the food, as the events happen, or after the events happen, or whatever. And I feel like, to an extent, that is me just having like pure nostalgia for the Davies era specials. But I feel like that is partly what I'd love to come back to, is like, have the Doctor experience a modern day Christmas. Also, this episode really pissed me off because like it has a really fun concept. Like, the idea of there being another guy who's convinced he's the Doctor because he's lost all his memories is such a fun premise, especially like a Christmas special. You could do that really well as like a full comedy, but it's the episode shy. Like, I'm sorry, but it's dreadful. Because it tries with this funny tone, and then you get the villain trying to be dead serious, and it does not work. Like, I hate the villains in this. it's a complete waste of the Cybermen. Like, the modern era does Cybermen so bad so often. You never get the level of, like, body horror they're meant to have. The fact that they were people. They were once people, and they have been shoved in a metal suit and stripped of their humanity. And then, like, here, they just use, like, generic robots again. Like, why have they invented a hierarchy? Where did that come from? And, like, this is one of the worst episodes of it. It's one of the worst examples of them just being generic robot villain. Like, why is it that in Age of Steel, when they come back, when the Doctor realises that they've been invented again, which is quite a cool thing that, like, they get invented repeatedly throughout history, and it's not necessarily the same Cyberman, but I digress. Why is it that in that episode, it's like, it's major that they come back, and then this one, you can just fucking punt them downstairs? Annoyingly, well, how's it Sonic? It makes a noise gag, like, annoyingly, that's a really good gag. It still gets me. In terms of Lake's version of the Doctor, like, something about it really reminds me of how I would play a Doctor as a kid. Like, I don't know if that's me, but something about the balloon being the TARDIS, it's really sweet. Like, it makes me think of, like, when I was a kid and I'd play Doctor Who, and, like, the spinny computer chair for when you'd go and sit at the computer, as it was an activity in 2000, right? You'd go and you'd sit in the room with the computer, at the computer, that would be your activity. And the big spinny chair you did then, that was the TARDIS, right? You'd sit on it and you'd spin, and that'd be the TARDIS going through the vortex. It reminds me of that, right? There's something quite sweet in that. But beyond that, it's really weird. He's a really weird character. Like, it feels like a children need special bit. Most of it. Like, this could be a children need little sketch. And then it just turns into, like, yeah, he's lost his wife, he's distraught, he's rediscovered the fact that his family's all dead. And it's a really weird tonal shift. Like, even in the other specials, it's all kind of consistently light and campy, except for a few moments. Even when you do get, like, the dark bits, they're led in too nice. Whereas this is complete, like, tonal whiplash. With the exception of the last special, which we will get on to. That deserves its own section. I have thoughts. But it's a really weird tone to set, but, like, it's light and campy, and it's the same character, and then immediately he remembers his wife's dead. The hot air balloon fight with the Cyber King is terrible, and I hate it. Oh my god, why? Like, why? How does it resolve like that? Like, she gets freed from the mind control magically, and she just goes, alright, hang on, this is bad, what I'm doing is bad, actually, like, why? Like, we have no character development in Hartigan. And then suddenly it's just like, yeah, this is bad, actually, I wouldn't want this. Like, that makes zero sense, and I hate it. I feel like there'd be something of a character arc with the resolution if it was actually, like, if Lake actually took himself from the balloon and fulfilled the whole theme they're trying to go for, of, like, you know, the memories might have been fake, they might have been planted, but the bravery you had was all still your own. But, like, they just don't. They just don't. He just stands there like a fucking lemon for the whole thing. It's dreadful. A bit more optimistically, like, the episode's not dreadful, it's not completely unwatchable. And I feel like the ending bit, where David gets all the applause, you know, he's in the balloon, and so the Doctor's looking down and everyone's applauding, they're giving him praise. I feel like that does kind of, it hints at the whole Time Lord Victorious arc, which is really weird to think about. Like, that's right after this. Like, you get this, you get Planet of the Dead, which is terrible, and we're not going to talk about it, because it's not Christmas, and also it's just shit. And then you go into the Waters of Mars, which is really fucking bleak. Like, we see a woman kill herself on this kids' programme. It's a weird tonal shift to get from, like, this to that in 2 episodes. Like, I feel like the need to make this a Christmas special, it's light, it's cheery. It really hampers it when you look at what it's sandwiched between. Like, you have Journey's End, which is really dark and really tragic, and we see the conclusion of Donna's backstory, and it's really sad. And you get the darkness of your beloved character. You get the Doctor becoming a god and realising he's gone too far. And in between, you just have this really crap Christmas special. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. And then you lead into trauma of the next Christmas special, which is where we're going. Because the less said on this one, the better. It's dreadful and I hate it. technically only the first part is a Christmas special, but you kind of have to consider them both as a unit. To me, it feels like one big like feature-length episode rather than a traditional two-parter. So if I mention bits that are like in part two, it all blends together in my mind. It's a weird story. It just blah blah blah. It's such a downer for a festive episode. Like you have a veteran, a nutter, and a terminally dying man just sort of lament at each other for 60 minutes. Also, every now and then there's just like a Christmas tree in the background, and that's the extent of your festiveness. I bloody love Timothy Dalton's monologues though, like having that opened on with just the shot of the earth, which is in two of the others actually. It's in two of the other specials. They open with this like zoom in on the earth and then into London, and then you see people celebrate. And, like having that here with Timothy Dalton's monologue is fucking gorgeous. Like vocally, he is amazing. And it entertains the fuck out. I mean, the two roles I think of him from are in playing Russell in this, and also the hedgehog from Toy Story 3. And that to me is like, that's all I ever think of him from. Anyway, but like, this little monologue of like Christmas as a pagan rite to banish the cold and the dark is fucking gorgeous. Like, the tone of that, and having this flavour of like, you know, Christmas as a serious thing is like, you need that celebration. You need some kind of joy to banish the misery in the world. Like, I don't know if that's because I'm just like, you know, a bit of either myself, but like, I find something gorgeous about it, and having that delivered in this amazing monologue, it's just, I really like this episode. That's what you're going to find out. I love this episode for reasons I can't justify. Will's back. I love this man. I love. On a more serious note, there's not just Wilf equals good, which he does. Yep, so he does. There's something really interesting about going for the dynamic of the companion who's one like a lot older than all the others have been. And two, he's seen war. He's done some stuff he really regrets. He's lived a life. I think it's particularly good in this one, given that it's like it's one big character study, and he has this very human element to the Doctor's struggle, having him like being able to relate to someone, being able to interact with someone who's also seen some shit in his final story, where he is playing this kind of world-weary traveller. I think that's really interesting, and I think it was really needed. In terms of the plot, it's just a bit dark, really, but like weirdly enough, the stakes aren't that high. Like, yeah, you know, implied threat is the end of the universe, the end of time itself, whatever that actually means. You know, immediately the Earth's going to get squished by Gallifrey respawning, but like, it's not an invasion or anything, so really directly, the threat can be stopped if you just like boot Rassilon and his mates out. Get rid of them, and there's nothing left. So really what you end up with is this kind of deep character study on how 4 men cope with the trauma of war. The Doctor in particular is a character study of him. It's the fact that he finally changes. He allows himself to move on. He has the best outcome of all of them because he allows himself to move on, which kind of links into his overall character arc, especially at this point of him being like too human. He's too attached to this incarnation. He's lived too long in that it's let him get attached to this personality that is kind of, in a way, it's based on the necessity of losing people. It's based on like he keeps meeting people, he keeps losing them, and he keeps outrunning his problems. He never looks back, so he finds more people, and inevitably they disappear too. So this kind of acceptance of his regeneration is him accepting, you know, I can't keep doing this. I've got to stop running away. I've got to face my problems, and that means regenerating. And maybe I think that's why this ending doesn't feel like quite as unearned as all the other Russell T Davies specials. Like, you know, he's kind of notorious for setting up a threat that you can't resolve, and then just in the last 20 minutes being like, oh, but magically the threat goes away and they fix it. And like, I feel like this ending feels more earned because the stakes aren't actually too high. It's so focused on just like character work, which is where he excels. Like, he writes amazing human drama, which is what this basically is. Having the Doctor like piss about for the first bit on with the U's and all that, it like, I feel like that really works for both. Like, you know, it's a Christmas episode. It starts like you don't fully get the depths of how bad it's gonna be because you see him fucking about wandering around in the snow, doing the other thing with, you know, close the car. You can, yeah, close the TARDIS doors and it beeps like a car, and him like desperately trying to make that joke. On the one hand, like, yeah, it's funny, it adds your obligatory Christmas tone, but also, like, you can sense the underlying darkness, you can sense he's trying to cover up for how hopeless he is, and that is a really interesting thing to lead with straight away. Also, on my other list of unsolicited opinions, because that's what this has turned into. This is a list of unsolicited opinions section, because I fucking love this episode, and that means I will talk about it. I will talk for England. Right. Option 1, the weird timeline womanism. The resurrection thing, I fucking hate it. I don't get it, and we are moving on. I hate it. I hate the way Mask gets resurrected. It makes no sense. Also, poor Lucy, like, she gets fucking shafted. She gets no resolution. She gets no redemption arc. She just dies. And that's it. That's her outgover. Also, we should have had like a campy musical number for the Master. I know it makes no sense plot-wise. I don't care. I don't care that it's not tonally appropriate. It's Christmas, and damn it, we deserve this man doing like campy noise pop nonsense again. It was fucking gorgeous last time. We really didn't need to see an OAP groping Dave Tennant. Like, it was a different time, wasn't it? Somehow that was acceptable. I think about this moment too often, and it really gets to me. Moving on. I fucking love that we end up with like a little emo gremlin Master. Like, I fucking love him. Okay, he's kind of hot. Like, I don't know why, but rewatching it, I had this revelation. He's kind of hot. I hate that. I hate that I've just admitted that. When he's not doing like disturbing things to a roast chicken, he's weirdly kind of hot. I hate that I've admitted that. The gap with the transition from Naismith's book cover to him doing like the exact same pose, it's funnier than it has any right to be, and I'm still entertained by it. I put this man on an actual dog lead, and I just feel the need for the world to know that. Also, no one looks good in that grey wrap dress. Like, it's bothered me for years. No one looks good in this. Like, Master in particular looks terrible, but no one has ever looked good in that. In terms of the ideas brought up, I think it's really fascinating that we get regeneration talked about as like a kind of death. I think this is kind of the first and only time we get it talked about like this as kind of, it's a form of death, right? It's a form of dying. It's so emotionally grounds the Doctor that, like, you know, there are really no stakes if he can just magically respawn and come back. But if you view it as a kind of death, as him dying and a different man takes his place, like, that little discussion in the cafe is so beautiful for character establishment. Like, this is the reason people love David Zero so much, because he was so human. The 10th Doctor was so human and alien at the same time. It was gorgeous. Similarly, like, seeing Donna's ending, it makes me so genuinely sad. Like, saying about finally making something yourself and not feeling like the complete failure people tell you are, and then it all just gets ripped away. Like, saying about like the deep sadness of having a completely average life and being so empty because some part of you knows there could have been more, but it was like never meant to be. Like, it scares me to death, honestly. The older I get, the more like a new build semi with the identical AstroTurf gardens and the driveway that hasn't yet been weathered so it looks too new. Or you never leave and everything's made of plywood and like the saturation's turned up too high, and if you touch the little mirage it'll ripple and disappear. It'll disintegrate. You just see the void underneath your life collapsing. I think this turned into a personal little therapy session, but short answer, it's a very existential thing. It's like Donna's arc and also witnessing the Doctor confront his own death. It's a really bleak thing for Christmas. We're moving on before I think too hard and give myself a breakdown. The relationship between the 10th Doctor and Sims Master is just, it's so brilliant. Like, I need an alternate timeline when there's more stuff we see of these two together. Like, the whole complicated love-hate thing and being the only two left and having to stick together because of that, and having a shared past where you grow up together. Like, I know Sim's character got butchered when he got brought back at the end of 12's run, but I'm going to choose to ignore that and focus on just what if we have more of these two together, like specifically this version of the Doctor, this version of the Master. They had like a dynamic that we never saw again, and I wish we could go back to that. Also, I'm very aware of the amount of fanfic that's got to be out there with them too, but I have way too much respect for these two actors to look that up, and also, I'm not 12 anymore. The presence in the novelty character setting is kind of, it's a bit odd, tonally, and plot-wise they're not like super relevant. I mean, they kind of are in terms of like, it's their spaceship that the Doctor ends up escaping on, but like, beyond that, there's nothing too essential to them. So you really tell them this is the moment where writers went, oh shit, yeah, we need like light Christmassy stuff for this Christmas special. Character segments. Which, to be fair, I appreciate. But the one thing that really does weird me out is like watching the behind the scenes, because I've been going through a phase of rewatching all the Doctor Who confidentials about this, and it's so crap. Like the transitional music using random pop culture songs that like vaguely tangentially relevant to what they've just said is so weird. They did all practical effects on the Vivace, except the faces. Like the line that you see on them, where there's like a difference in colour. That's not prosthetics to makeup. They're like normal flesh tone, and that they CG'd in the green on them. It's really weird. Like, why did I do that? I'm really curious. It genuinely keeps me up at night. Why? Also, on the note of like how they did this, you know, behind the scenes, whatever. As much as I love their commitment in this era, it's like making everything practical effects, which amazing. Like, bring that back. We need stop allowing everything being CGI. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But as much as I respect the commitment to do the whole like everyone transforms into John Sim, they originally planned to do it where everyone wore a mask of his face, a really creepy mask of John Sim's face, and that genuinely haunts me. Also, I think this is like a rare case of the cliffhanger kind of actually paying off and not being like immediately resolved in the first 5 minutes of the next episode. I guess it kind of does in the sense that like that they do a runner pretty quick, but like the actual resolution with, you know, Rassilon coming and reveal like that's actually the greater plot. It's not about the Master taking over. It's actually about the Time Lord's returning. It's kind of it's quite a good payoff, I think, because you don't get it immediately resolved after the cliffhanger. Also, you get Timothy Dalton, which is perfect casting. He's perfect as Rassilon, and it really pissed me off that his character got butchered when they brought the character back for Hellbent with 12th Doctor. Like, also, to be fair, as dark as the rest of the episode is, having the cliffhanger being literally the entire human race gets turned into the Master is so ridiculous that like it pulls you out of it. Like, yeah, you know, technically that's fucked up, and like, you know, it's got implications in theory, but also it's so fucking stupid that you do recover some sense of like, you know, it is Christmas, it's light, it's campy, it's nonsense, but it's a really weird place to be left when, you know, you hit the credits and you turn off the telly and you sat there in a pile of wrapping paper and you go, the fuck did I just watch? Final wanking time. So, first up, in terms of like how sound are they as an episode of Doctor Who, regardless of it being a Christmas theme, like if you're able to watch it at any time of the year, regardless of it being a Christmas episode, and still enjoy it, if you'd willingly like gladly go back to it, not just what I'm doing, desperately seeking out some kind of like festive joy in my life, but if you just want to watch it as a good episode of Doctor Who, does it fill that criteria? Perhaps unsurprisingly, in 5th place, it's the Next Doctor. I mean, it's a bit shit, innit? Like, it's all built on this fake out twist that don't actually get used to a decent effect. So you basically wasted the opportunity to actually do a multi-Doctor story to introduce the next incarnation. I know technically they do it in the 50th with like Capaldi's eyebrows show up, but like the opportunity to do Doctor meets the next incarnation, like that's never been done, and I don't think you can actually properly do it now that we've had this version. Also, the Cybermen as villains are like terribly used. Like, there's no real character development for any of the supporting cast. The villains are used terribly. It's just forgettable as hell. Don't rewatch it. If you're picking an episode to rewatch for Christmas, don't. In 4th place, Voyage of the Damned. concept is cool, kind of like, you know, a cheesy novelty sort of way, and it works as an episode. It's solid. It's a decent rewatch, but there's not really any stakes for the wider series, so it is entirely skippable. Like, I enjoy it, but nothing's ever really made me go, oh yeah, I really fancy rewatching this episode specifically, like I do with some of the others on the list. So, I'm gonna rearrange my ducks. I fucking love that dark. Best £1 purchase I've ever made, to be honest. Third place, gonna go with Christmas Invasion. You have the introduction of the new Doctor for the first time in the revival, and it succeeds in like solidly establishing what he's about, how he's like, and it sets the tone for how all regeneration should be like approaching the series going forward. So in terms of, you know, significance of the series, it's substantial. Also the episode in general is just like fun. Like, it's not super serious and dark, but like it's a fun Doctor Who episode. We did used to have those. We used to have episodes where it was fun and campy, and you enjoyed it. Like, can we bring that back, please? Like, it's just a fun rewatch. It's a bit of fun. It's campy. It's stupid. You can't go wrong. Second place is going to go to the Runaway Bride. Like, it is just stunning. So that's an automatic win. We get a companion with kind of deeper motivations than Rose had, which is the only companion we've seen before this. As much as I love her, like, what the fuck is she doing before the Doctor shows up? Like she's a teenager with a job, living at home. Like, you know, she's got no sense of purpose, but beyond that, there's not really much to her. Whereas with Donna, I feel like we get a different dimension. And we fall in love with her enough that, like, when she comes back in Partners in Crime, you're genuinely happy to see her. And when she becomes, like, the proper companion, she steps aboard properly, it feels really earned. Like, you genuinely look forward to seeing her. And you also see in this episode glimpses of, like, a darker 10th Doctor, which I think really plays well with the climax, more than, like, you know, if it was just a big accident scene, it's whatever. But having him, like, having the turning point being him making decisions that he will go on to regret, that people look at him and wonder, like, is this actually a man I want to be associated with? I thought that really works. Like, this might just be me discovering I like my Doctor Who when it's not really about the aliens, but it's just about, like, people. And by process of elimination, that means first one, end of time. It might be personal sentimentality to an extent, I'm going to be honest. Like, I bloody love it because I'm a sentimental old kid. I absolutely love the three leads. I love how they play off each other. I love David Zero, and this is his final episode. He is my Doctor. This is where he left. It's my favourite Doctor. It's my favourite version of the Master. It's Wilf, it's a legend. You get Timothy Dalton. Like, what's not to like? Like, what's not to like? But aside from me, like, it does literally finish off David's incarnation, and it's Russell's last story. So, like, it has to be significant in one way or another. I think it's absolutely a justified use of taking an extra year after Journey's End to wrap up the 10th Doctor and finish on this, like, really intense character finale rather than send him out on this kind of action-based series finale. Like, it's a really good use of your David Tennant, to be honest. Like, it's a really significant episode that you can't skip it. Like, it bookends the entire run of both this director and this actor. Like, it's just good. Just watch it. Festiveness time. I will be conducting a count of every instance a Christmas tree appears in the shop in all of these episodes to determine, like, a scientific rating. Can you tell my brain's been scrambled by, like, having to manually count syllables in a song for a coursework piece? And by coursework, I mean my actual dissertation, which I only really worked on in about a month, and it's due in about 3 months, and I'm trying not to think about that. Before I have an existential crisis, coming in at number 5, we have the Next Doctor. It really, like, as much as I hate this episode in general, it's also really not a good Christmas episode. It seems more like they went down the route of, like, if we do a tour in London, make it a little bit Dickensian, we'll get to Christmas in the end. But they never really go beyond the set dressing, like, look, snow, it's snowing. So it kind of just disappears rapidly. Like, by the end, nothing about the last sort of 4 or so minutes are actually festive, other than the Doctor being asked around for Christmas dinner, which he doesn't take up the offer of. It's like, I feel like what might have happened is, to an extent, there was kind of the pressure of this is the only bit of content, of Doctor Who content you're getting for quite a while. Because there were no series, and it was just these specials till David left. So that maybe kind of pushed it towards trying to make less of a festive episode, and kind of more just a good episode, which it also didn't succeed at, so really it's just crap. Much say to admit it. 4th place is The End of Time Part 1. Like, as much as I love it as an episode, it's not that Christmassy. There are like flashes of festivity when you see the nobles celebrating, which is really sweet and I love it. That does kind of disappear the deeper you get into the actual plot. It just kind of becomes like, oh yeah, there's a Christmas tree in the background. Oh wait, this is the Christmas special. But other than that, it's like, it's so bleak. The actual plot is so bleak. And it's way too significant to the overall timeline of Doctor Who. It being, you know, Ten's last story and all. To then make it like, it's the cheery festive one. You can't get that deep if you're going for the, you know, targeting the audience who've just sat there, drunk out their heads on Christmas Eve, and then they're hungover, they're day drinking, you know, they have had half their body weight in turkey and stuff in God knows what else, and you sat there with a tub of Quality Street, and you just stuff in your face. You can't do like a deep episode for that audience. So they picked their battles and they went with what I think is the right decision, which was they went for just make a good episode, just make it good, and don't worry about it being Christmas that much. So Wolf's Little Antlers, Little Antler, single-handedly keeping the festive vibes going, and I commend them for it. The Runaway Bride is more at 3rd place by default than like any festiveness to it. Like it's more festive than the last two. You get moments of like establishing Christmas by seeing London celebrate, and you get the wedding reception, which basically just a Christmas party. It's set, but it's more set dressing than like actually embedded in the story. But the last two I mentioned are either so crap or so bleak that this is like default fairly good as Christmas specials go. Also, the Robot Santas make it like mildly on theme at least. So there's that. I would say bring them back. Like bring them back for this special. But I'm going to be honest, the last thing we need is any more Series 14 desperately trying to squeeze some positive opinions out of the audience by like shoehorning in some reference to when Doctor Who was good. 2nd place, I've done Voyage of the Lamb because it's not as festive as what I feel number 1 is. But it is still solidly grounded in the vibe of this is a Christmas special. Especially with like the little trip to Earth to witness Christmas and the really overdone gag of aliens and the present not understanding how on earth Christmas works. It's kind of dreadful, but it's endearing and it is festive ultimately. Like, ultimately this is a good use of your Christmas special. Much I dislike the joke. And then that means, number 1, Christmas Invasion. It's in the name. None of the others put the word Christmas in the title. That should have been a giveaway. The overall plot isn't actually like connected to anything Christmassy like it would be in the Moffat era specials, but to be honest, I think this works better personally. I don't know if that's just nostalgia on my part, but I think it works better. It's still distinctly Doctor Who, but with tinsel. It's not just a Christmas story that happens to have the Doctor in it. Also, I love seeing Rose's family doing Christmas. It's honestly, it's so comfy. Like, I will go back to this when I'm depressed and I just want some festive vibes to get me through, which is honestly how this video came about. I was just watching Christmas Doctor Who and thought, I can make a thing of this. I can make a thing of this and then justify it. And then it didn't happen for days on end because I'm a lazy git and also I get depressed. This is what Christmas specials should be. Fun and light, but also that there's a sentimentality, there's some wholesomeness. So with that said, what am I hoping to see in the next special, right? Is Russell coming back? Is Christmas specials come back after literally like 5 years without them, which was a terrible move and I hate it. But yeah, Russell's come back. What do I want him to bring from this era? Well, more campy nonsense is, I think. The headline is just more nonsense, please. More grounding characters that feel like actual human beings, like we're actually watching people celebrate Christmas rather than some like saccharine holiday film. Have it set on modern day Earth, doing Christmas, watching actual people do Christmas, rather than like the Christmas type of story, a holiday story, an holiday story for the Americans, which is what I dread but like you strip away the trappings of a British Christmas to make it more palatable internationally, and I fucking hate that that's a thought that might actually happen. Like, I feel like the show has kind of lost its identity a little bit in recent years, especially with this new series. I don't know what it is, but something about it just really don't feel like classic Doctor Who to me. And to be honest, I think a part of that is because it's not rooted in like real experience, like real people having real Christmas on Earth, living real lives. Like, since Russell leaves, there's very little like actual grounding in the companions' like families and home lives and all of that. Like, can you actually tell me much about Bill's family, about Clara's family? Like, they kind of just disappear, and I really hate it. In conclusion, more cracker hats, please. That'll fix everything. Everything will be amazing. If I see the Doctor wearing a hat from a Christmas cracker, fucking best special in years, mate. But ultimately, right, it seems unlikely to be decent. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it don't bode well given how shit the latest series has been. So, you lot can all come back to this video and take the piss in a couple of weeks once you've seen it. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep riding the nostalgia high in the hopes that it, like, makes me feel human again. Also, while I'm here, I have a Redbubble shop. I do a shop. If you're in need of like Pride merch, deeply unseasonal stickers, or dedications to the random snail statue outside the Deutsches Museum Verkehrszentrum in Munich for no apparent reason, check out my Redbubble. I have got you sorted. I'm now going to go consume my body weight in mince pies, except I'm not, because I just remembered I ate them all. I'm mince pieless. Instead, what I'm going to do is attempt to pack this lot in a way where I can transport it 300 miles to my family's house across the country on public transport, including getting it through the tube. Future me will let you know if that actually succeeds. If it hasn't, pray for me. If it has, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from me. Merry Christmas from this shitty novelty duck that I fucking love. Let's hope this year's special is slightly better.